السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى وسلم عليه والصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Inshallah, we'll carry on from last week, where last week's topic was on lying. And last week we spoke about the cruelty and that is brought upon people when we start lying. And this week we'll carry on with that topic. We'll carry on the diseases of the tongue. We'll carry on the things that come about when we begin misusing our tongue. In a hadith from Bukhari Sharif, the Prophet ﷺ says that the person who protects the flesh between his jaws and the flesh between his thighs, then I will secure Jannah for him. Prophet says that the person who protects the flesh between his tongues, meaning the flesh between his jaw, meaning his tongue, and the flesh between his thighs, meaning his private parts, then I will secure Jannah for him. So whoever protects these two parts of the body, then verily these two parts of the body bring either destruction upon someone or bring someone goodness. So we learn from this that to protect the tongue is one of the most important things that we can do in our lives. If we want to secure Jannah for ourselves, if we want to protect ourselves from the hellfire, then we should keep our tongue safe. We should keep our tongue in check. We should not allow our tongue to roam freely or just say whatever we want. The saying goes that we should think before you speak. So before you speak, you should first think about what you're going to say. And then you should think, is this going to harm someone? Am I going to harm somebody by saying this? Am I going to cause more trouble if I say something? Rather, we should be thinking this, and if we think about these things, and if we keep the fear of Allah within our hearts, then inshallah, we will be protecting our tongue from all kinds of calamities. And in another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ says that when a son of Adam, meaning a human being, we are all sons of Adam, alayhi salam, when a son of Adam, alayhi salam, wakes up in the morning, then all the limbs of the body, all the parts of the body begin pleading to the tongue. They plead to the tongue, they ask the tongue, they tell the tongue that to be fearful of Allah. All the parts of the body tell the tongue to be fearful to Allah. And then the parts of the body say to the tongue that we are all connected to the tongue. So first of all, when you wake up, all the parts of your body, your arms, your feet, your legs, everything, they make dua to your tongue and say to your tongue that fear Allah, for indeed we are all connected to you. If you remain straight, if you remain firm, then all of us will remain straight, all of us will remain firm. And if you become crooked, then all of us will become crooked, all of us will become astray. What does this hadith mean? This means that when we wake up, our whole body knows the calamities that our tongue can bring upon us. We know that if you start talking to someone, and if you're not controlling your tongue and you begin arguing, then arguments can lead to a fight. And then what happens in a fight? You either get beaten up or you are the one that beats up someone. So either way, something happens, right? You either harm someone or you harm yourself. And neither of these things are good for us. First of all, if you're harmed, if you're the one that's being harmed, then obviously you're going to be in a lot of trouble for the next few days. And if you're the one that's doing the harming, then you'd have someone else on your case. You'd have the police coming after you. You'd have other people coming after you. What did this stem from? This stemmed from the tongue and the misuse of the tongue. You begin to use your tongue in an uncontrollable manner. You begin swearing at people, cursing people, or just simply arguing with people. And this leads to the rest of your body becoming in pain, or the rest of your body finding trouble. In another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ says, a Sahabi asked the Prophet ﷺ, that he said that, O Messenger of Allah ﷺ, which is that thing which is most dangerous for me? Which is that thing which is most dangerous to me? And the Prophet ﷺ said, he didn't say, your enemies, or he didn't say shaitan, he didn't say any of this. He said, the most dangerous thing to you is this, and he held his tongue. He held his tongue and he said that this is the most dangerous thing for you. which means that if we do not control our tongue, if we do not look after our tongue, then either it brings us much trouble or it brings us goodness. If we control our tongue, it will bring us goodness. Because the tongue is a bounty from Allah. Allah has given us a tongue so that we are able to communicate to one another, we are able to speak to one another, we are able to speak good to one another as well. This is one of the things about the tongue, that we are able to either do good things with it or bad things with it. And it's up to us whether we do something good or something bad. If you keep the fear of Allah in your hearts, then everything that you do, your tongue will also keep the fear of Allah in it. So if you keep the fear of Allah, then inshallah your tongue will be set straight. In another hadith, the Sahabi, he saw another Sahabi. He saw a Sahabi called Abu Zir radiallahu ta'ala anh. And he found this Sahabi, he covered himself in a shawl. He covered his whole body in a shawl, and he was sitting in the masjid by himself. All alone he was sitting in the masjid. So the Sahabi asked, "O Abu Zar, what is the reason that you are sitting alone by yourself? Why are you sitting alone? What's the reason for this? Everyone else is there. Why are you sitting by yourself?" Then he said to the companion that I heard the Messenger of Allah ﷺ say that to sit alone, to sit in isolation, is better than being in the companionship of those who are evil, of those who are bad, of keeping bad company. To sit alone is better than keeping bad company. And to sit in the company of pious people, to sit in the company of good people, it is better than being in isolation. And to say something good is better than to remain silent, and to remain silent is better than to say something bad. So this hadith shows us many things. There are many things we can learn from this hadith. One of the first things that we can learn is never to keep bad company. This Sahabi, he would sit alone in the masjid, covering himself with a shawl. Now who here, if you're in the company of your friends, will walk away and go sit in your home alone? And none of us want to do this. We'd rather stay with our friends, even if they are bad company. This is the state we are in today, where even if we are in bad company, we'd rather stay with them and look like someone who's cool, or look like someone who's got friends, rather than sitting alone by yourself in the masjid. Even though the masjid is the best place. The masjid is the house of Allah, and this is the best place that we can come to in our day. And the other thing that we learn is to sit with the pious people is far better than to sit by yourself. Because if you sit with the pious people, then you gain nasiha, you gain advice from them. You learn many things from them. This is how a lot of our scholars come about today. They sit in the companionship, they sit in the gatherings, and they sit with the pious people. And from this they learn from the pious people for many, many years. And after this they become great, great scholars. And the other thing we learn is that to be silent is better than to speak in certain scenarios. So if you've got nothing good to say, then you should remain silent. I'm sure a lot of us hear this all the time. If you've got nothing good to say, remain silent. You should not speak. But if you've got something good to say, something which will benefit someone, something which will make someone happy, because to make someone happy is also the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. So if we make someone happy, if we use our tongue for good, then not only are we making someone happy, which is following the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, but we're also getting deeds twofold, because we are making someone happy and we also use our tongue for good things. And this Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes pleased with. And the final hadith that the Prophet ﷺ, that I'll go through today, where Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhuma, he says that the Prophet ﷺ says a believer should not be that one who curses, should not be the one who swears, because swearing indeed leads to the breaking of hearts of people. If you swear towards someone, even though they may not show it apparently, because this is common today, where if you say something bad towards someone, when they may laugh to you in the face, it's just a joke. But then when you turn around and they go home, they begin crying, or they begin feeling saddened, they're upset. Because to have someone say something to you, say something mean to you, in front of their face, you won't show that you're sad, you won't show that you're strong, you can take it, it's just a joke. And when you go home, straight away, it hits you. It hits you that this person said so and so to me. And then your heart breaks. And this, in our society, commonly it leads to depression and leads to anxiety, things like this which we don't really talk about on the stage. And we find that many of the youth today who go college, who go secondary school, even young children in primary school, studies have found that these children experience depression as well. Why? Because people in school, or the teachers, or even parents as well, they will say something and they'll not check up on the child afterwards. And then the child will become heartbroken, they'll feel lonely, anxiety, everything comes to them. And this is totally against the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. we should keep our tongue in check and follow the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. We should remain silent if there's nothing good to be said. We should remain silent if you've got something bad to say. But if you've got something good to say, we should always say it. Because this may make someone's day. This may make someone who's had a really bad day feel happy. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to act upon the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And may He also allow us to safeguard our tongues and keep our tongues in check. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ الْمُبِينُ وَالْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ.